RedHair Pirates debuted on OPTC Global during the 5th French anniversary on the 27th of July 2020, bringing along arguably one of the best Sugo-Fests of all time, with amazing step-ups including multiple multis with 11 guaranteed legends with amazing rate boosts for powerful characters at the time. The characters that debuted in this batch include Krieg and Gin, rulers of the East Blue, Kuro and Django, captains of the Black Cat Pirates. And this batch debuted 2 Sugo-Fest exclusive characters. In this episode, we're going to be covering the character with the captain ability that was capable of removing a ton of special bind on your crew, along with a powerful special, giving you a very good chain lock for multiple different turns. Today, we're going to be covering RedHair Pirates, pirates fighting for their friends. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC. Last week we had a look at the RedHair Pirates, or the Fishman Pirates, with the RedHair crew of course, and they're an interesting unit, but they were always the consolation prize to this guy right here, the RedHair Pirates. Pirates fighting for their friends. Of course, we have the rare recruits of this batch, as well as this free-to-play buggy, which I do plan on using in today's video. We're going to be using this batch all together. And then the RedHair Pirates themselves. I mean, what is there to talk about this guy? This guy just does everything. When this guy came out, he was by far and away the best legend in the game for a little while. This character is just extremely strong. The fact that he is essentially a rainbow unit that provides so much, and you could just run whatever you want with them, and him as a captain being able to also deal with a lot of cool stuff too. I mean, having a look at this captain ability here, just in the base form, 3.5 or 3.25 depending on who you're at the time. You get the health boost. Shanks makes quick slots beneficial, whereas Beckman and the gang make psi slots beneficial. And then obviously the 10 turns of special bind removal in both forms of the captain was one of the main reasons why people would use him. You just don't have to worry about special bind at all. Of course, if you're inflicted with despair and then you're inflicted with special bind, things could get a little bit problematic there, but still, it is what it is. But an added effect that would also occur that a lot of people forget about is that when you become the dual captain, obviously the multipliers are fantastic. You still have the special bind removal, you have the really good damage reduction, but you also have this like V2 Akainu effect, where it deals 0 to 1000 times their attack at the end of the turn, depending on how many perfects you hit. So if the enemy has resilience, they also get through that as well. So captain ability wise, not really much to complain about, just fantastic across the board. Now another thing, they had the best switch ability in the game on release. Changes orbs of adjacent characters into matching and boosts the attack of all characters by 1.5 for 1 turn. This was the best switch ability in the game. I think this was the best switch until, I mean, I guess Vivi and Rebecca also was a very good switch ability as well, until Roger and Whitebeard dual unit came out. I would say at that point, that character had the best switch in the game, but up until then, this character's switch was used on a ton of teams. Even if you weren't using them as a captain, just having them as a sub to generate 3 out of 6 matching slots every turn and an attack boost was awesome, especially when GARP challenges were more prevalent. Being able to just have this switch ability every single turn to help you push through those mob stages was fantastic. And then of course their special, it's very simple, doesn't do a lot, but it's a good ability. You get a 20% health cut, and then a 3.5 chain lock for 3 turns, and then the combination for 3 turns of course. So the 3.5 chain lock was the best chain lock in the game up until this point, so god tier ability, and being able to have that for multiple turns obviously is very, very strong. So being able to have that 3.5 chain lock, and then on top of the utility in the captain ability, great multipliers as well, really no complaints here. Like, Shank's crew is just an absolute beast. In terms of potential abilities here, he does have slot bind removal, recovery, healing, negating effect removal, and then the enrage and the increased damage taken. So overall, like, Shank's crew is just that guy. He was so good. Everyone wanted this guy on release, and of course he debuted with one of the best Sugo-Fests of all time, which really helps his case as well. So of course, let's actually go ahead now, jump in game, and actually use RedHair Pirates in some content. This guy was an absolute beast, and hopefully we can showcase that to you guys today. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into things here. So we have the RedHair Pirates ready to go. Remember, when dual units when they were in their infancy, the thing about them is that when you put them onto your team, you actually could not select who your first side of the unit was. So this would be what your team would actually look like back in the day, whereas, you know, today's day and age with a dual unit, you can select who you'd want to start with. You could start as Ben Beckman if you would want. You could start as Django rather than starting as Kuro. So let's go ahead and have it as the base form of what you would expect to use. Of course, this is my Shanks crew, which has been de-evolved, so he is level 150, but it does not change his abilities, he just has higher stats, so don't get it twisted. Even with the higher stats, I don't think it's going to be a problem for this Coliseum. This Coliseum, though, this was actually the Coliseum that debuted alongside the RedHair Pirates, which is the Coliseum Komurasaki. A lot of people had trouble with this one when it first debuted, and a lot of people would often just use RedHair Pirates as the friend captain because they just handled a lot of the gimmicks in this quest, as we will discuss as we get deeper into this content. One of the things is that we don't really need to do that much stall, really, because stage 3 is very cumbersome, so we're going to take a few turns on that stage. So we'll go ahead and switch into Beckman just to help us get through this stage a little bit more comfortably. We will go ahead and do some basic stall just to make sure that we don't really take too much damage, so that'll be fine there. And also we get to go ahead and use this free-to-play buggy, which also came out around the same time period of this Sugo-Fest, which is pretty cool. The buggy is going to help in this content a lot. This buggy was used in a lot of people's teams against Komurasaki because it does have the ability to remove damage nullification. And if you are, if you're a fan of Treasure Cruise and have been playing for a while, you would probably know that there aren't really a lot of units that remove damage nullification. It's actually quite a rare debuff to remove on characters. Alright, let's go ahead and get through this. We do have these turtles, which we can get pretty good amount of stall off of. And this is what you do back in the day in Treasure Cruise. You know, you have to try and get your stalling. You know, it's not all the boosted meta where they give you cooldowns at the start of the quest. That just was not the way to play back then. I mean, we would have loved for that to be the case. I still remember when Clash Dex Sabo debuted for the first time in OPTC. I farmed like 130 copies of that in the 24-hour period that he was available for, and I had to do a bit of stall on that one, and I was literally playing that all day, but you know, it is what it is. So anyways, I don't think we really need to do that much stall, so let's go ahead and move on. Anyways, here we have stage 3 where we have this Brook and we have the Onami. This stage is just really annoying because they have really pesky barriers in order to get through, so just really, really annoying stuff. So, this is where we can abuse some of the really cool mechanics of these dual characters, which we'll kind of discuss, not only just on this turn, but also on the upcoming stages as well. So, we want to try and kill Brook first. Brook is very, very annoying. Nami we can deal with our switch ability, so that's not really going to be that big of a problem. So, go ahead and activate some of these switch abilities here. And then we'll do this to have some damage reduction, so we just, you know, tank the damage a little bit easier. And then with just switch abilities, we have an attack boost, we have a color affinity, we got damage reduction, we have a bunch of matching slots now. Really good stuff. So let's go ahead and kill Brook, which we should do considering we have 3 characters with type advantage, and we have a color affinity boost, and an attack boost. Plenty of damage there. Really, really good. No issues at all. So, let's go ahead and we have this next turn here with Nami. So this is where Nami applies some really annoying debuffs, where you get the fear reduction. We also have the paralysis. So we'll go ahead and switch with our captains, because we want to make sure that we have our characters set up correctly when we get into the deeper stages. And this is where Kuro and Django are actually quite useful. Being able to remove that paralysis is really clutch. So we want to do some damage here, but we actually don't want to kill Nami. We do not want to kill Nami quite yet. We'll just do a bit of damage, that's fine, because we want to make sure our characters are set up correctly. So, we want to make sure that both of our captains are as Shanks, because we want to switch into Beckman next stage. And then we also want to have Krieger, because we want to switch into Gin for the type advantage if needed. And then we want to make sure we have Django, because we want to switch into Kuro. And then with this, we are now set up to clear this stage. And then we shouldn't have any issues clearing the rest of Nami's HP. Boom. Okay, good to go. Alright, next stage here with the Orobi. So this stage also was really annoying when it first came out, because again, damage nullification was just very rare to remove, and not only does she have it, she has 2 turns of it after her preemptive attack. She also has a gimmick where, let me pull it up actually, so you guys, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. So if you activate an attack or an orb boost, she's going to remove your beneficial effects, and paralyze you for 4 turns. So yeah, that was another reason why this content was so annoying, because a lot of the ways you would normally get through content was activating an attack and an orb boost to give you the damage output that you would need. But of course, if you can't activate that, then things get a little bit clunky. So first things first, let's go ahead and switch our captains. So we're going to have type advantage with Beckman, and we get an attack boost, of course, which is uninterruptible. We'll go ahead and switch switch into Gin, so we have that type advantage there as well. What else are we going to do? We are going to go ahead and switch you into Kuro, and we'll go ahead and switch Buggy as well to get a color affinity boost, because why not? And then we can go ahead and use the Buggy ability, which, as we said, removes the damage nullification. Also does a little bit of damage, changes some slots around. The special combo of Kuro and Buggy together allow us to get essentially a full board of matching slots, as well as the Buggy delays the enemy, and then Kuro gives us a delayed conditional boost. So these two characters in Kuro and Buggy are perfect together, and the Kuro character, I believe, also will remove the Despair for us, which it works out so well. We have our matching slots, which is perfect, and then we can then go ahead and activate our special ability of one of the RedHair Pirates, which of course is going to give us that fantastic 3.5 times chain lock, and that is actually going to be pretty important to have, because the enemy, when you kill Robin, or it's either when you kill Robin or when you enter the next stage, there is a really heavy chain debuff. So if you don't have a chain lock, then you're going to be in a little bit of strife, unfortunately, which kind of debuffs some of those chain buffing captains. If you wanted to use those chain buffing captains in this content, it made it very difficult to do so. But at this point here, we want to make sure that we are ending last on our quick characters on Robbie, which we have plenty of quick characters, so that's not going to be a problem. So let's go ahead and get through to the final stage. Let's do it. Easy. And then I believe this is where Robbie gives us the chain debuff, which of course is really bad. Yeah, so she heals, she runs away, and then we get the like the 10 turns of the chain reduction, which of course in a lot of cases is going to be really bad, but not for us, because we have the RedHair Pirates' fantastic chain lock. Okay, so now this is where we reach the final stage. This is a very weird Coliseum in terms of the way that it's structured, right? Even though Komurasaki is the boss, there is essentially an alternate win condition. You don't actually have to kill Komurasaki here, and you know, you really shouldn't be doing that, because if you have a look, she has a 99 hit combo barrier, so the only way you're doing that is if you remove 99 turns or 98 turns of barrier, or you have a way to penetrate that barrier, which in a lot of cases is not going to be a thing that you're going to do. What they want you to do is actually just kill Kiyoshiro. When you kill Kiyoshiro, the content just ends. You just win. So that's the way through it. Now, of course, there is 98 turns of resilience. How are you going to get through that? Luckily, we have Shanks' crew with his captain ability. Of course, when you have it in his dual form, he says here where it deals non-type damage to all enemies, and it's based on the amount of perfects you hit. So as long as you hit one perfect, that will be enough to kill through that resilience, so long as we get him to 1 HP. First things first, let's go ahead and activate our Gin and Krieg special, which is not only going to give us a really good 2 times orb boost, but it also removes enemy defense up, which is perfect for this content. Then we can go ahead and activate our Edward Weevil. So Edward Weevil is a free-to-play treasure map character. He's a Psy Slasher, works pretty well with the team, and his special allows you to remove, it's either 10 turns or 20 turns of attack down. I can't remember which one it is. He removes a lot of attack down, and he also gives us an attack boost because the enemy has a full debuff immunity. At that point, we can then activate the switch ability of Shanks' crew, because we want to activate Weevil's special first, because his attack boost is better and greater than the switch effect that Shanks' crew would give you. And then we can activate our Shanks' special ability, which of course doesn't really matter, but it gives us a higher damage potential because we have the 4.5 times captain instead of the 3.25 or 3.5 times captain, whatever it was before. So it gives us a lot more damage, and then we're good to go. So we have attack boost, we have an orb boost, we have our chain lock, and that's pretty much all we need to do. So all we need to do, target Kiyoshiro, hit at least one perfect, and he's gonna die. So here we go. Let's bring it home. And there we go. Bop. And there we go. That is it. And then, you know, here we go. She says a request from only the lowest of the low. And she ditches, and we win. So there we go. We're able to showcase the RedHair Pirates and why they are why they are probably widely considered one of the best legends to ever debut in One Piece Treasure Cruise history. An absolutely phenomenal character. Really was a joy to go ahead and use this character once again. We dropped her limit break material as well, which is one of those rare drops, so that's pretty dope. Anyways, guys, really hope you guys did enjoy this one. I haven't had a look at the calendar in terms of the release schedule, in terms of who is actually going to be next on the list. I can pull it up real quick because I'm sure you guys are going to be excited to see who is going to be next on our agenda. So Shanks Crew released, and then the next one is Mihawk and Perona. That is going to be next week's episode. Definitely going to be a bit of a fun one. The one after that, of course, V3 Rayleigh. Definitely one of my favorite legends to use. Really, really fun unit, especially with that 6+. But either way, man, Shanks Crew, absolutely awesome character. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.